Who is the space holder for this call? I I want to be. Yeah, I want to be. And what I caught was until 6:30 at most. And my idea of this call would be a space where we share legends and gold. And what I find more accurate for me right now is the heartache of coming back into my life with a higher level of clarity and just seeing my fucking messes all over the place and how I've set up my life from a position of kind of like convincing myself to do something I don't want to do and calling it life and calling it okay and calling it I've got it or calling it happy or calling it good and really just seeing, after these 7 days coming back into my life and just not quite fitting in because what I've built for myself is too small for for the aliveness that is in my heart right now and the sensitivity and the noticing, especially the noticing, just seeing my relating with Jorge, seeing this teaching job that I have and how for me to go back to it, there would be a level of I have to numb out to do it and like withstand it or like just yeah.
Melissa, do you catch the voice? To do this teaching job, I have to numb out.
Yeah.
With a box mimetic, like that's
Yeah. Well, it's like it's clear to me I don't want to. I just don't want to do that. I don't want to sit on a screen with someone who's there to learn languages, but like I mean, there's some adults that I work with, they're just quite checked out, and I'm not letting like I'm pushing down the pain of being in connection with these people. So yeah, I don't I have it. I have a class tomorrow. I will go, and it is something different. But the way I've been orienting to it before has been just surviving it, like just getting through it.
yeah.
And it's been in my relating with Jorge as well. It's been in like multiple areas of my life, just getting through it.
Mhm.
What I hear you saying is that you're noticing in all these different examples of relating spaces that you're part of, that you're forcing yourself to put up with it.
I
Rather,
had been
yeah, that you have been forcing yourself to put up with it rather than what?
being pissed off, just being real with myself that I'm a no to a lot of things that I'm engaging in or like letting happen or just pretending I'm not a no to it.
Mhm.
I was. So this is the confronting part because it's just not there right now. Yeah,
It
I'm
that's not there?
say it again.
What's the it that's not there?
Withstanding the thing that I'm a no to instead of saying no and walking away.
I think I hear you saying that what's not there is your willingness to withstand.
Yes.
And
Yes. Yeah, so there's something else there and it's like being more real with myself.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And this is confronting because my life is built not from that.
yeah.
Like I've built my life from yeah, using my anger on myself to withstand something I'm a no to instead of using my conscious anger to say no. Which is what happened. This is what happened in my connection with Jorge, and it was intimacy from my sword. Just I'm fucking pissed off. No more. And it's continued since last night.
Yeah. My fear is that anyone hearing you say that would assume that what comes after my sword, I'm pissed off, would be no, and no more would be you need to change. It's I'm pissed at you, I'm pissed about you, I'm pissed,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing this to me, or
Mm-hmm.
life's life's I'm the victim of my circumstances or something like that. And I don't get that that's actually what you how you created intimacy in your time with Jorge since you've been back.
Yeah. So there's two parts, and one is noticing that and being like, I'm just not going there. Like, I'm not going to keep playing this game with myself. That's part of the game. Part of the withstanding is I put it on someone else to change or something else to change. So what's happened from being clear in this, in this connection last night is even today. What? Did you say something? Okay. Even today, I yeah, something's different. I'm just not standing there when I don't want to be there. Like I'm not listening to the things that I just don't want to listen to. I'm not talking about creative projects when I just don't want to fucking talk about creative projects. And it's different. It's just different because it wasn't like that 2 weeks ago.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a part that's quite confronting, and it's that I don't know how it goes. I have no idea what tomorrow looks like. I don't have this safety of having some kind of plan about how it goes for the next week, the next 2 weeks, when we get back from this travel adventure the next year. Like I have no fucking idea. So,
What I'm
yeah. Hmm.
what I'm hearing is that you've come a lot closer to reality
Yeah.
and the reality of not knowing what will happen in even like the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's out of my comfort zone. Yeah, out of my box. Yeah, it's like gloriously out of my box. It's ecstatic, painfully ecstatic out of my box.
Mm. I noticed for myself something similar, but this this grab for my box to like stay in place. Yeah, I feel scared because I'm like looking into the future and trying to decide like what's my next step, what do I want? And and then I'll hear other people talking about their clarity and like what they're doing next and what they want, and then I make a story about it and I judge myself and I make myself smaller, and I'm catching myself in those moments of when I'm comparing, because that comparison for me is a huge gremlin food. And I feel glad because at the training I really got to practice like saying out loud, I'm comparing myself to you right now. And this is what's happening, and it's coming from, a strategy in me to make myself feel small or to make myself feel superior. And from there, then I decide either from the small place or the big place, and not from a place of just what do I want, realness, like what is up for me. And being at the Bridge House right now with people from like the trainings, I'm still doing it. I'm still revealing myself when I'm comparing. Like especially when people bring up the year-long space holder training, I freak out a bit because it brings me back to the moment when uh yeah, and Chloe looked at me and said, "You're a child. The door's not open for you." And yeah, that broke my heart. And then after that, we had the initiation of telling the woman in front of myself like about their box and their gremlin, and then about their being, and then them say the same to me. And in that initiation, I had the realization that, oh, I choose. I am an adult. And when I come from my adult, I decide what doors are open for me and what aren't. I decide like what I create. And so
Mara,
yeah, yes.
I feel scared to hear you make those kinds of declarations because then you could decide that there's $1,000 in your bank account and there's not. Just because you choose it and you decide and you
Hmm.
declare it, it doesn't make it so. And I'm not saying that you don't have access to your adult ego state. I've seen you in adult ego state. So but my yeah, I'm sniffing some kind of mm, this kind of this pretending that this if I say it then it'll be true, and this is like magical thinking.
Hmm. Yeah, yes.
When I was listening to you, I kind of decoded it as I create what I create. Like that this is that the adult speaking.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you caught that magical thinking, Nicole, of just like, oh, I say this and it shows up. So that's not what I mean. What I mean is that, yeah, like when I'm coming from my child and I'm being told that I'm a child and I accept that, and I see the person telling me that as an authority figure telling me what I am, I then like removed myself from the space and went like kept almost going into the swamp and feeling hopeless and like I don't have options, or like I didn't make the choice. She made the choice for me.
Yeah, I heard it a little bit in how you said that when she said it, it broke your heart, as if, and Chloe broke your heart. And then it
Mm.
had more of a quality of I went into the swamp. The feedback, you know,
Hmm.
what she said went into the swamp. And yeah, I mean, as I speak about it, I'm noticing this is something that I've been noticing more and more often is the distinction between like going into a victim story and crying and being in the swamp and what is the like, how do I from there how do I navigate into conscious use of sadness, because I think that like we're very close somehow. And yeah, this is some of the research that I'm turned on about, is
Hmm.
to have more clear distinction between emotional anger, sadness, fear, and joy, and the feeling of anger, sadness, fear, and joy, and really getting that. Sonia Gonsalves calls it this foamy layer. Like get through the foamy layers and swipe off the foamy layer and feel the feelings that are there. And sometimes I can do it, and sometimes I can't. And this is something I want to build my competence in doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel sad because that's what I was getting to, is that once I realized that that I choose the state that I come from, that I can negotiate.
Negotiate with who?
Like for this instance, and Chloe.
Like negotiate the state that you come from?
No, I'm
No.
saying when I shift out, when I'm in child state, ego state, I see it as like there's no other option than to listen to the voice in front of me or to listen to whatever's being told to me, like accepting what is being, yeah, just accepting everything that's being told to me and that I have no other options and I should just go and then end up in the swamp. And from that experience, I was walking this really tight, thin rope of swamp sadness, uh, like conscious sadness. And on the last day of the training, I chose to use my sadness to say, "Hey, and Chloe, I feel sad because I've been projecting onto you this entire week. I've been making you into an authority figure that like, yeah, that like tells me what to do, who's scary, and you're not that. And I'm sorry that I did that because it created distance between me and her." And then I shared that I was glad that she said what she said to me because it punctured something in me where at first like I was able to have this transition of seeing the two doorways of either like going down the swamp and staying in my own prison or becoming an adult and seeing that this is another woman on my team who is really pointing out to me like, hey, yeah, I have things to do at home. I My main focus and where my time and energy that I'm focusing on is going back home and packing up my stuff and leaving and getting out of there and continuing to support myself as I go because I'm scared shitless because I don't have like tons of money in my bank account. Like it's not like it's this reality of like I really don't know how it's going to go. And I also see how potentially joining the year-long space holder training would actually be a strategy for me to not do what I'm committing to doing because it takes so much energy and time to be in that intensity of a training. And so I said to her, I might call you, as in like I was reopening the door, as in like I might call you, like these are the things I'm doing. And her response was, I look forward to you calling me. And for me, that was in reality at least like an evidence or something of like, okay, I created what I wanted. I'm deciding if I want to call Anne Chloe and talk to her again about like what I'm doing to I cut the cord with my mom, I cut the cord with my dad. I have a team of women who are actually going to come and physically help me move me out of my house and who are also on my team to move to this community called Utopia and also people who I can call for when I want to just numb out and use marijuana and instead of doing that like really committing to this. And so yeah, that's the level I'm at. I don't have clarity about like if the door is fully open for me on the year-long space holder training or whatnot. It's more so of like I'm not giving my center to Aunt Chloe. That's really what it is. It's I'm coming back to what's happening for me. Where's my priority? Where's my energy? And what is it that I really want? And yeah, I feel glad because I was able to navigate to use my conscious feelings to have that conversation with her and not leave it as some low drama in my head of like, oh, Aunt Chloe's the worst, etc., blah blah blah, and to just be with another woman who is on my team.
Go, Mara.
Yeah.
How did you make it possible? How did you make that shift from this authority figure woman telling you you're a child and the door is closed to then like being able to still source what you want and still engage with what you want? How did you make that shift?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, like the first thing I did was when I left the table where most of the women were sitting she had just made the child comment to me. I wanted to go off by myself, but instead I just joined another table.
Mm.
That was my first step of just being with other people, other women. And and Nicole was at that table and she called it out. She goes, "Mara, is this your swamp?" And I checked and I was like, "Yes, this is my swamp." And and then Leslie brought this impulse of information, like she's like, "Do you see the love that Aunt Chloe's coming from? Like, do you see what and all the women here?" And like that just like woke something up in me of like, oh, it's not an attack. Like it was just like, oh, it's yeah, like it's not an attack. It's actually it's radically being on another woman's team without being scared that the woman is gonna like, take it the wrong way or that she needs to save me or something. It's like, no, she's using her sword of anger with love to be clear of like, hey, yeah. And so then I kept as I was like teeter-tottering from like sadness to like being with what is. And the heartbreak really, like the non-swamp heartbreak was really the fact of like where I've been at and that I have been just at home in survival strategies, avoiding feelings, avoiding taking responsibility for my life to create what I want, and really seeing the magnitude of that. And yeah, the more I just kept, I asked someone to hold space for me, and I didn't end up having the EHP. I was just able to like, as I kept talking about it and talking about how my gremlins my gre- gremlins hooked about it, that I could put it aside and just be with the woman in front of me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's this part of like even when someone has their sword out, that message is still I love you, and how to do the work it takes to be able to hear that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Totally. Yes, because if I heard that even last year, I don't think I would have been able to make that shift.
Yeah.
And also like if I was alone, if I wasn't with
Hmm.
other women, then yeah, straight down the hole of like I would have gotten high, I would have used alcohol, like who knows what I would have grabbed at instead of being with what was happening. Yeah. And I feel scared right now because my phone just told me that um it's dying. So at some point my phone might die. And I also feel somewhat complete from what I just shared.
Thanks for letting us know that. Well, I'll, if you disappear, I'll know. And yeah, see you in the next space.
Yes.
I love that. I love that so many women that I spoke with in the last day of the training and the day after, as we were, is this process of as really cleaning up after ourselves and exiting the space, like bit by bit by bit by bit, happened, was this hearing about all of the different practices that each woman had discovered and was taking with her.
Mm.
And I've noticed since I've been on my own now that that there were other practices that I had been doing before the Bridge House and during the Bridge House, and now there's this depth to them, this added dimension to them from the process where we each put our weapons on the table with a group of 3 other women, and we're really honest about the ways that I create war, and then the women also were on my team to tell me what they saw too that I was missing. And then this question came out of it, like, what practice would be the antidote for that? And my antidote practice was to bring my being forward and lower my numbness bar, and then go from there. And I noticed that it it works best when I've also been doing the practices that I have been doing. And there's this sense of like, wow, I can be practicing anytime, in any space. I can
Mm.
be doing this practice that builds matrix. And it takes me back to this moment. You probably have heard me talk about it already sometime, where in a study group call, Clinton said this thing that just seemed like impossibly simple, that to make any ordinary space into an extraordinary space, start an experiment. And these practices are all experiments. And I get how, and then doing other experiments this morning when I went down for breakfast, my experiment was to leave my phone in the hotel room and practice while I was having breakfast, rather than, and and since so much of that practice is about being honest and speaking when there's really something in me to say, I ended up not speaking much at all. And I think the Nicole of, well, maybe not 2 weeks ago, because I've had these physical symptoms happening, but the Nicole of, yeah, 2 weeks before, or before 2 weeks ago, I would have I would have had a lot of parent voices telling me what I should be doing. Like, you should be starting a conversation. You should be finding someone to speak with. You should be, you should be your bright principles, your archetypal lineage in action in an obvious way. Like, you're missing something, that kind of thing. And none of that was happening. And I was just relishing in my delicious breakfast. And yeah, even noticing how like, there's this saying, about things hitting the spot. Like, my different bites would hit the spot, and I'd be like, oh, what was it about that bite that hit the spot for my physical body and my energetic body? And sometimes it was as simple as I was chewing slower.
Mm.
I slowed down and it hit the spot, which blew my mind in that it's almost as if I've had access to possibility in certain directions and not in other directions. And I'm saying directions, it's not as linear as that, or it's not as kind of accurate as that. Somehow the slowing down especially. And it's not as if I'm thinking I'm there. It's clearly not that kind of game. And yet there's this sense of, oh wow, I've turned some kind of, I've gone past some kind of limiting set of limiting factors that there are, you know, this horizon that is opening up. I can see some things about it that I think I can tell, oh yeah, that will happen. I want that. I'm orienting toward that because I want to. And then there's so much open, empty space. And I love it. It's like oh, it's like I've been trying to fit all my notes into a notebook that already has every page written on. And now I've just gone like, fresh notebook. And some of it is, I feel angry because I can see how I've been turning possibility management as a game world into a prison and a torture chamber for myself. That, you know, it's gone something like, in order to really belong in this game world, I have to, you know, join the year-long space holder training, be a Rage Club space holder, want to become eventually a possibility management trainer. And these things have at times been, I've been 100% yes for them. And then later on, when it started not being as high intensity, interesting, and my turn on changed, I thought something was wrong with me. And I didn't have this whole realm of, what am I turned on about? It's still, when I did have it, it was still, and these are my options. It has to be part of how possibility management already looks. Which, in a way, as I hear myself say that, I think, what the fuck? Like, there's so many things that I've been part of inventing that have built out the PM game world. And I've had the lived experience of, and then it's no longer for me. I replace myself. And yet I still expect myself to stick around and do things the way other people do them. And I'm just not as alive when I'm doing that. It's similar to what I hear you talking about, Melissa. It's like I'm manipulating myself into this certain size of life. And it's not what I want. I don't want to be doing that to myself. And like, when I heard myself say that, like manipulating myself into a certain size of life, it's like, holy smokes, like Gaia's huge. And how did I let my gremlin convince me that this set of possibilities were the only ones I had to choose from? It's so ironic because I love possibility management because it is about expanding out of these limiting box memetics and patterns and attitudes and habits, and I was really still doing it, using possibility management to do it. And I just, it's almost as if I have this, yeah, it's like I have this Gaian roar in me that's like, don't do that with this precious set of tools and distinctions and thought maps and processes. Don't turn it into a prison. It's so precious.
Yes.
I got this surge of joy during the Women of Earth Extended each time I saw a woman who was in a way like doing it wrong according to my good possibility manager box. You know, was saying it wrong, doing it wrong, not using the right language. And I at first I would just, I was shutting that joy down because I thought, oh, that's my gremlin, you know, catching them doing it wrong. And what happened next was I would get pissed off at Vera and Chloe for not using their swords on that woman like they use their swords on me when I do it wrong. And I just suddenly was like, holy fuck. I am, I thought I thought I had got out of this wrong making. And there I was, like busted, you know, with my wrong maker just freaking flying in all directions. And yeah, it feels, like I get that it comes from this thought where that if I practice something enough, I will get it. I will have it. I will never need to practice it again. And this is turns out to be a strange kind of fantasy, like just a setup for, yeah, like prolonging the agony of self-manipulation.
Wow. I feel glad because hearing your clarity, it's like that's such a huge discovery to really be with yourself where you're at of like, holy shit, I'm turning this in on myself again. And your clarity of I don't want to fucking do that. Yeah.
I hadn't used my voice blaster much. And when I was on laying on the mat in my little sick bay on the edge of the training space, and at first I noticed I would only even think about using my voice blaster when there were loud sounds that would mask me speaking my voice.
Mm.
And I got so pissed off that I would be stopping myself from using such an effective tool. using this, this shame mixture to stop myself from just going ahead and saying it. And I started doing it when it was less noisy. And then I started laughing because I felt such joy that I was using my voice blaster, and it seemed like the Earth's Coincidence Control Office was arranging it so that I had the most voices when it was noisy, as if my feedback was, you know what, just do what you can do. And yeah, I feel sad because I may never become the woman who can just wield a voice blaster in public. I guess I'll see about that.
What do you want? And it's a question for you, Nicole, and it's also a question for me. With, the space really coming out of these 7 days of transformation, I have access to a lot of clarity, a lot of tools, a lot of a lot of shifts that I can do. And so with all this clarity, okay, for what? Like, what do I want? All this extra energy that's in there, for what? Like, what is it for? And this, on my way out of the training space, I drove upstate New York with one of the other women, and just in a moment of silence, driving together, just like landed in me. What do I put at the center of my life?
Mm.
And I still don't fully have an answer to that question. And it is more clear, like there's something I am turned on for. Like I fucking love peeing on the earth in the morning. Yeah, like it's just this ecstatic thing of being a woman and like squatting and having a body and almost like and being in commune, collaboration, connection with Gaia, like that first thing in the morning when I pee, feeling the cold dirt under my feet or the grass.
Mhm.
Like I want my life to fucking be about that. I hate peeing in a toilet. Like it's this thing I've been withstanding. Okay, so if I have clarity and ways of not withstanding my life anymore, what do I put at the center of my life? Yeah, it's a disruptive question, a wonderfully disruptive question, and I'm in it, discovering it. Because there are things that I'm just in bliss to experience in this body, in these bodies ongoingly. One of them is peeing on the earth, one of them is living on a piece of land where I can actually hear Gaia speak. And where I am right now in this moment, the the grass is very tiny and the trees are very solo and it's very cemented, and I don't hear her so clearly. Her voice is not really tended to here. Yeah, what do I want at the center of my life?
Who are you waiting for to tend to Gaia's voice?
Not waiting for anyone. And I have certain experiences in this body where the quality of her voice is distinct. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that Gaia's presence and Gaia's voice will be kind of most available in a wild space, away from Urbania or all of the urbanite and hustle lights. And again, I catch this flavor of being a victim of circumstance. You can't have what you want until the
Mm.
circumstances change. And I don't want that for you, Melissa.
Go.
And I love your question. I love your question. Like, if I'm not putting this at the center of my life like I used to be, what do I want at the center of my life? And I feel angry because I can see so much more clearly how I've been wanting to put something really big and important there.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said transformation, I've said archaearchy, and I've said Gaia and the small here and now. And it's not that those aren't things I want at the center of my life. But there's a way that that also has been like, oh, now I expect myself and I pressure myself to, my gremlin's like, you're not putting transformation at the center of your life. And it's accurate.
Mm.
I mean, not today, I'm not. Like, I haven't done a transformational process, held space for a transformational process. And yet, that's not entirely accurate either. Because I was discovering so much during my breakfast experiment. I've been, every time I practice, it's like it lays down another, whatever it is, of matrix. I think my most accurate answer for what I'm putting at the center of my life, because I want it at the center of my life, is experimenting, building matrix. And sometimes it's the slow way, and sometimes it's the more kind of intense looking, obvious way. And I think this is one of the biggest things I'm taking away from the training, is that just because I wasn't doing loud processes where I was expressing and moving and speaking didn't mean that transformation was not happening.
So was it happening?
I don't think I've come out of a training with this much enthusiasm for that. My life just seemed like it got burned down. And if that's not transformation, I don't know what is.
Yeah, yeah, I'm beside you with that. Yeah, I'm still researching this question. What do I want to put at the center of my life? What do I choose to put at the center of my life? And yeah, it just stays close to me for now.
Yeah.
As I engage with my life at this level of it just kind of being burnt down, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, like I can actually move in any way right now. What do I choose? And again, not planning.
Hmm.
That's not a real possibility. Just like right now, ongoingly.
I love this. Like, it sounds like it starts with, well, what am I putting at the center of my life right now? Especially when it's not going how I want it, I really want it to be going. And I love how you've got clarity about this whole thing about this manipulating yourself, and like this strategy of go numb and withstand.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, what's an antidote for that you could put it the center of your life, even just for a day?
Yeah. And I don't have one right now because what I have is like I have spaciousness. So it's quite easy to just like kind of see the impulse come and then it falls beside me. It's not very strong. So just not engage with it. This is the antidote or the experiment I have right now.
Mm.
So and this, like I talk to women, and I actually made a video about this yesterday and shared it, that it's gaslighting. This thing called gaslighting, like holy shit, it's me. Like it's me. I've heard people talk about it and I don't fully get it. And then this week I had this experience where I'm like, oh, like it's me. I've been working so hard to convince myself that what I sense is not so. I have been working so hard to convince myself that I don't see what I see, or I don't want what I want. Okay, it makes sense that someone can stand in front of me and tell me that the blue car is actually red, and I'm going to believe them and make my life, like move in my life based on that belief. Yeah, and just, okay, if that's not there, then what? How does it go? Something cleaner, something more I love you, and a little less fuck you, but under it is like, because I love you. It's just a little bit cleaner. And I went into the training with this question, like, why is the man by my side disempowered? And this has been part of it. It's because I have not stood in front of him empowered. I've convinced myself that I have. Again, this gaslighting piece. And but the consequence is, I'm beside a man who is without his dignity. And okay, what do I have to do with that? Well, it turns out I'm not standing in front of him as a dignified woman saying no. And without that, he actually cannot meet his own dignity. This is this, at least not in relating with me. Yeah. Yeah. So what's clear is relating is at the center of my life. That's without a doubt, without a doubt. But what aspect of it, what part of it, and you're on mute. It's not coming through.
So in a way, relating is at the center of everybody's life, but not necessarily conscious, radical, honest
Mm-hmm.
relating.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love being in this adventure with you, Melissa. Thank you for adventuring alongside of me and letting me in on things and reaching out to me to ask me to let you in on things and answering me when I reach out to you to share or to ask what's going on. I noticed that when I went to create the Zoom link for this call, there was this what to title it. And I thought, well, it's the Bridges for Women of Earth after call. And there was this lurch where I was like, wait, am I a yes to calling this, like, to this Bridges for Women of Earth little game world? and when I checked, I was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And I don't know what my bridges are going to look like. They not look like, a possibility management trainer's bridges. They might not look like, a lot of the bridges might not even have a woman go to the Women of Earth space. I'm not, it's not about what happens with them. I mean, I get feedback from what happens with them, but for me, it's about learning to be a bridge builder for Gaia, for evolution, for possibility.
Go. I discovered how fucking messy bridges are
Yeah,
and how like they're not the yellow brick road
right.
paved out ways.
Yeah, you get this like picture of this freaking, like beautiful stone,
Uh-huh.
I do. But and it's like made it's like fucking MacGyvered out of whatever will
In the
work.
storm of insanity happening at the same time. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, like I
yeah.
think ma- I was really being a bridge maker in a way the most in the drive from the training space to this hotel because I wasn't withholding. I wasn't manipulating myself into being a good possibility manager. And this like these bridges started just showing up.
Yeah. Yay.
Yeah.
I feel glad to hear that sense of loosening and where that thing that you're really up to starts to pour out or come out.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. And something else happened. I was going through my emails yesterday and there's an email from Gabriel, the man who's on
Mm.
my team so fiercely to for me to have a website that worked. And he said, here's a link to something I've put together from everything I've read from your forums. And I just went to this website and it was like, this will work. This this makes bridges
Yeah.
for women, for men too.
Yeah.
And I'm so turned on about doing the steps to complete it or to get it to a place of ready to send it out in the world.
Mm.
I have angels on my team. It's really cool. Yeah. And Ingrid about to really graduate to the next level of being an angel.
Wow. Are you on your way to visit her?
Not yet. I mean, not clearly. My first visit will be to my brother and sister-in-law and niece, unless I hear otherwise when I call them this evening.
Well, is there anything else for now?
One thing is that when I said what I said earlier, I can't remember if it was before or after we started the recording, that I wanted to read the legends of messes people make or crazy stuff that happens when people are in liquid states. And my lesson learned is when you're in a liquid state after training, have someone beside you when you book a hotel because you'll have way more possibility of not booking it for the wrong date. I'm a little bit scared to book anything.
I almost did that, Nicole. I was looking for flights back to Canada and accidentally checking March 22nd instead of February 22nd. And I had done that for two and a half days. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to book. I was like, wait a minute. This is not the right day. Yeah, so that sounds like sound advice.
World, take that. So I can't predict right now when I'll go or where I'll go next. I know what I want. Don't always get what I want.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need to discover what else I want.
Mhm. Me too.
Anything else before we wrap it up? Or anything else before we say goodbye?
I noticed the impulse in me persists to share some of the legends from the space, like really just speak it out loud, and maybe it's even in person, beside women, what this experience was that I had of seeing women come alive in that space. Like really a few women just let their hearts crack, and then something else come out. Yeah, and just
I'm hearing
like
you say
wow.
that is that the Rage Club might be a great space to practice legend telling.
Mm.
And yeah, keep your phone close. Who knows, you might get an impulse, a legend just start burning to be spoken, and go for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will see you when I see you, Nicole.
Perfect. Goodbye for now.
Bye.